Hi, my name is Samuel Price, the Crypto Lifer, and here I am every single week to give you your macro analysis for Bitcoin. Total 3, Bitcoin dominance, US Tether dominance, and S&P futures, NQ futures, the NASDAQ, the nasty Nas, some call it, and another chart at the end that you can't wait to see. So let's get it in. Let's talk about it. If you've been watching me for a while, I've been talking about 67,200. This key level is where these two candles close right there on this line. All I want is this weekly candle to close above 67.2. If we get that, that solidifies this could be some support, and we could continue to further either stay in some type of chop or go to the upside, but it would stop the bears, right? I said before, we must close weekly candles above 65.5. Each week, we almost, did it here. We almost did it here after this week closing very nicely. Then we got that treacherous move, but we got bought back to the upside, and so far, so good. So I'm going to say this every single week that you see this macro technical analysis. As long as we stay above 67.2, as long as we stay above 65.5, I just don't see how we go down to 60,000. We'd have to go to 60K to then go further down to 52K. I'm open-minded to believe that, if we drew a Fibonacci here, that we could come right back down to 59,000. And if we drew a bigger fib, we could come all the way back down to $51,900, $52,000, where this little area of support exists. Are we going to come down there? We are far from the 21. There are some good odds that this could happen. However, none of this can happen if we can't close weekly candles below 67.2 and 65.5. So I'm giving you what is possible. I'm not a perma bull. I'm showing you the bearish scenario, but none of this can happen if we don't close weekly candles below these two levels. So that's why logically, as long as we stay above these two levels, and so the fact that we're going to, end the week above 67.2 or Friday at least, that's bullish sign to me, but I need to see this close Sunday night above 67,200. That brings me to the 3-day chart, which I see we're in some type of flag, and then to the daily. The daily is showing signs of a, symmetrical triangle, almost a bull pennant. It kind of has some bull pennant vibes. Like, it's pretty sleek, To me, it looks more like a bull pennant than a symmetrical triangle, but I'd rather treat it like a symmetrical than anything else. The length of the pole is this whole move here. And if this breaks out, you're talking 93,500, 93,000, 93,498, 93,500 for Bitcoin. The key resistance is here at 71.5. We break that, we break the all-time high. So in my humble opinion, once you break 71.5, you're likely going to break the all-time high. It's just what can happen. And you can see this is like a bit of a double bottom with a higher low right here. I've definitely seen this as a double bottom, and something that I'm going to show you that you won't see on a lot of other channels. I haven't seen much. I don't watch a lot of TA, but is if we go to the RSI, we got this swing down while price action swings to the upside. That's hidden bullish. And when you got low stochastics, usually you get a nice move to the upside. However, it looks like we're going to close this candle possibly, red today, but still it's somewhat of a bullish candle because it's kind of like a bullish hammer, right? You got pushed to the upside and you got more wick down than you do on the top of the candle. But only time will tell. You can see we hit a very, very strong resistance at 68,000 today. We hit it and just could not get back above it. So you can see 68K is going to be your daily resistance. Resistance, resistance there, resistance. So 6 candles have, not been able to get back above this level on the daily in the last, month and a half. So that's definitely something that we have to look at last month since March. So we got to break back above 68,000, really 68.5, 68.7 is really the key level that we're going to watch. 68,500, I'll call it. So you break back above that, and what I'm looking for is even if we break above it, it says that we could still just be inside the pattern. So even if we break above this and we do this, it just, it says that we could just be consolidating inside the pattern. And then this could even take 8, 6, or 7 days, and then boom, we could get a move. That could be the 14th, and this could play out. What if it went sideways all the way to the 20th, which is when the halving right now, and that could change to the 17th or the 15th, depending on block size. But right now, it's about April 20th for the halving. So, we are seeing some consolidation for Bitcoin. I do take it as a symmetrical triangle. If it breaks to the downside, it'll drop out the length of the base here. And we'll see Bitcoin drop, at least to double bottom there at 61.8, and then possibly all the way down to this high volume node at $56,000. So I'm not ruling the 50s out yet. I'm not a perma bull here. There's a chance we could see some bearishness. And I told you how. We have to close the weekly candles below those two levels. One of them will close below, and then we'll see what happens from there. So far, we're unable to do so. Even though we've gone below them, we've been able to close the candle in those areas, okay? So this is what I look at for Bitcoin on the daily. Now we look at the 4-hour time frame, and the 4-hour had a really good, kind of Adam and Eve double bottom here, divergence, bit of a cup and handle. We got the bounce to the upside. I was able to make this call by trading the 1-minute 200 SMA signal, which gave us that move. And if you're in my trading group, you would have got that. But anyway, we made this call. We actually made this call too. Past few nights, we were able to make some good gains. And even today on a Friday morning and Friday afternoon, we were able to pull off some gains too as well. Right now, what I see happening is Bitcoin just getting tight inside this area on the 4-hour. You'd like to see it make the low, the high, the higher low, and then put in a higher high and break above it. However, we still have resistance at 68.5. We got to break back above that to remain bullish. So the question is now, like, what happens Friday night into the weekend? And I'm watching this symmetrical triangle. These tend to break up more than they break down, but I see a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. That's building what's called confluence, which is, combined influence, right? Confluence, combined influence. That's how I call it. So I would be looking for this 1 hour to breach above the 200. If we break the 200 on the 1 hour, I would long. An aggressive entry for the long is right now, and it could create a move to the upside. And I do like this kind of cup. This is this is a cup with a handle right here that could break to the upside. Sammy cup and handy, right? So I'd be watching your 1 hour time frame into tonight if you want to see what happens. And for the macro, really, it's just 67.2 and 65.5 and some key levels on the daily at 68,500 that you want to be paying attention to. The smaller time frames may breach us at least to the top of the channel, and then we go sideways. What do I see happening tonight into tomorrow when I get back? Likely we just kind of probably hopefully get a pump, and then we kind of end up sideways here when I show up tomorrow morning. So that's what I see happening for Bitcoin. That's our Bitcoin analysis from the top down, baby. Let's take a look at the total market cap. Total market cap doing just like Bitcoin. If Bitcoin tanks, the total market cap is going to move down. We need this daily to push up. We need this to act as a higher low, which it is so far looking pretty nice. This could even be a bit of a W, right? With a higher low, and we could see a move to the upside here. Cup and a handle, break to the upside. So, yeah, some bullishness here for sure. Moving average is a little far apart on the daily, right? But they could get a couple more legs up before they actually have to kind of pull back. When you look at the weekly on the total market cap, you can see we clearly, just kind of wicked to where these wicked to. That's about it, right? But we're getting closer to price discovery here, but we never hit the all-time high, right? I'd look for this to just consolidate again like we do on the 3-day chart and the daily. So again, it's up to the 3-day and the daily. I'm more bullish than bearish right now because you have a higher low. The moving averages are looking good, and the stochastics are kind of coming to the downside. Let's take a look at our 4-hour time frame, and our 4-hour wants to go, but it's not able to get back above the 200 SMA. You really need the total market cap to get back above this 200 to remain bullish. If we do not, and we stay like this, you could look at this like a bear flag, and we may continue to the downside. So we're kind of at a place where anything could happen here. Getting above this 200 on the 4-hour would make me feel a lot better for the total market cap for now. So look for that to happen like tonight into tomorrow. We'd like to see this 4-hour candle in the next 3 to 5 candles really break back above this yellow line. That's going to be my 200 SMA on the 4-hour time frame on total, okay? If total continues and breaks out, I mean, we have a massive move up to $3.39 trillion, right? And again, we'd have to break this low at 226 to start a downtrend, okay? And so far, so good. Everything is looking pretty bullish to me, but only time will tell. Total 3 is the total market cap of all of the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. You see, excluding BTC and ETH. So this shows us kind of the strength of the altcoins. And you can see on the weekly, we have a bullish cross coming, a golden cross. Now, if you look at Bitcoin on the weekly, right, which is pretty cool, I like front running these ideas. And you can see when we were back here, we just had a little, up and down movement, and we eventually moved to the upside. So the altcoins are right here. And we can go back in time and kind of show you. They're right there where the 50 is coming for the 200, and we're about to get the golden cross, right? So the altcoins are, basically about 10 weeks behind Bitcoin in a bit of a nutshell, but you can see the same thing brewing. This would tell me that we would just probably consolidate a little bit, maybe even, and there's a chance we could pull back. Like, it's not out of the woods that we could get this pullback back to $630 billion. But, only time will tell. We do have some support right here where you had that resistance. Look, resistance, and a little bit of support that we wicked off of at $700 billion. So the bullish scenario is that we never go lower than this and we just consolidate in some type of ascending triangle, something like this. And then, we take a couple weeks to go sideways and then we have a massive move up. Like basically the halving comes and then about 4 to 5 weeks after the halving, things start to really get out of control and ramp up. That's kind of what we're looking for when it comes to BTC. All right. So now we're going to take a look at the daily. And you can see just like Bitcoin, the total market cap is dealing with the same, the same structure here. A little more of a wedge than Bitcoin, right? It's got a little more of a higher tone than it. If you brought this up, you'd have to kind of hang out. But if you use the candle bodies, you got this like rising wedge, which says that the altcoins are a little more bullish. Like, could they break out of the rising wedge to the upside? The daily, the moving average is a little far apart, and you kind of have a double top here, right? That has some double top vibes. So if the altcoins can't get back above 786, even above 744, we could be brewing for some type of downside, some type of falling wedge like this, right? So you really want to see in the next 3 or 4 days the altcoins get back above 750, or at least begin to do something like this where they move up 3 candles, come sideways, and just fight off the bears here. We have a lot of wicks, and we did bounce, so that's pretty bullish. Just the moving average is far apart. Just give me a little bit of caution, and if we did pull back, you'd be looking at $632 billion. But I'm more bullish than bearish right now, all right? And to me, on this weekly analysis, it does suggest that we could see some more upside. It depends on Bitcoin, though, all right? If Bitcoin takes a big beat down, then none of this is going to happen, right? We take a look at Bitcoin dominance, and on the weekly, it had a big candle, right? And it looks like it's about to do something big. And whenever I see Bitcoin dominance revving up on the weekly, usually Bitcoin gets a pretty big move to the upside. So one thing I got to heed is and pay attention to is this Bitcoin dominance chart. Now, the daily's a little high, and we hit like a resistance. You could move this up and kind of say like we hit this resistance that we keep hitting here. To me, it's weird. Like dominance doesn't make a perfect chart. But every time we got up to here, a little push up to here, a little push up. But like this general area, the 54.75% area, seems to be the more, well-known resistance here for Bitcoin. So do we come back down and give a relief rally to the altcoins? Possible. Let's take a look at the 1 hour time frame. I don't know, the 1 hour suggests that Bitcoin dominance might be going on some type of tear tonight. So I would watch even the 1 hour, even though this is a big macro analysis. We really do have to watch the 1 hour here, because if this breaks out, this could spell some trouble for the alts. If this falls down, then the alts might be able to be tradable this weekend. But just be careful. Watch your Bitcoin dominance. If we just look at the macro, the weekly suggests that a big move is coming for Bitcoin. We just got to break back above this key level here, right? Which we kind of already did. Like we see, you can say on the weekly, you can say we broke out of the ascending triangle. And then if I look at this flag here on the 6 hour, you want to see, does it come and retest? What you don't want to see, if Bitcoin's going to pump hard, you don't want to see Bitcoin dominance losing 54. You want to see it possibly retest and bounce off this possibly 200 SMA on like the 6 hour or the 4 hour time frame. So watching Bitcoin dominance closely, but it doesn't suggest that you're going to get any real big alt moves. It looks like more like some sideways and possibly upward movement for Bitcoin dominance. Tether dominance, as we told you before, we basically saw this in the ascending triangle here that we watched, and we knew it was more bearish. It could break to the downside. We got that breakdown. Then the weekly lost to 200. That's very bearish sign when you lose the 200 SMA for any asset in the world on the weekly time frame. It's just a very, very bearish sign. Now, you have a little bit of a bounce, and it's attempting to bounce back up. Are you going to bounce, or are you going to continue to the downside? I draw this in what to me looks more like a bear flag, and this is the length of your pole, and it suggests that you are going to dump further down. So let's watch the daily. But being below this 200, getting these, and having this as resistance suggests that Tether dominance is going to continue to the downside. So if we look at Tether dominance and Bitcoin dominance together, it looks like Bitcoin dominance is going to make a big move up, and Tether dominance is going to make a move to the downside, right? The weekly is very low for Tether dominance, so you don't want to see it get back above 4.6. If that happens, it could, and you don't want to ever see it get back above the yellow line on the weekly. As long as we stay below the yellow line on the weekly, we stay below this level here, the daily is likely to continue to the downside. S&P futures, something that I talked about. Remember, I gave you this cup with the handle there. I told you where we were going a long, long time ago. I even gave you the hidden bullish divergence. I talk about this every time I see the chart just because it was so textbook. But hidden bullish divergence was on the 3-day chart, right? And what we could see was, you could see that price action had this uptrend while the divergence had a downtrend. And it told us that we were likely going to continue to the upside. That's exactly what happened. We also had this beautiful cup here, followed by this handle. And, you know, we ripped out of the cup and handle. We're at a bit of a resistance now for S&P, right? And everyone wants to know, is we going to have a nasty market crash, or are we going to continue? The 3-day chart suggests that you will get some type of pullback here on the NASDAQ, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that bad. It may just make a little bit of a flag, and it may even kind of stay pretty much to where it is and go sideways before its next big leg to the upside. I'd look for some type of consolidation here from the Bitcoin halving. You know, maybe there's, you know, just, you know, that getting before the springtime here, and then we're going to get a pretty big move to the upside is what the charts say. Sorry, my finger slipped. Is what the charts say here that so you want to see this 3-day flag kind of fill out, and it may take 9 to 12 days, have the 21 catch up the price action, and then get a move to the upside. When I come back next week, it's likely we're just kind of nursing this move to the upside, or possibly coming back down for a retest. I would look for a pullback or sideways price action. It doesn't suggest that we're going to get a massive pump, but it suggests that we will get some sideways price action before a bigger pump. We take a look at the NASDAQ, right? In the NASDAQ, there's your cup and handle. Same exact thing. Like, they're basically hand in hand. You're looking for this flag or for the pullback. The same exact thing. I'm not sure what's going to happen because I'm not a psychic, but it does tell me that we're likely going to go sideways and continue up. A month from now, I am very, very bullish because they're going to continue to print money. And so it's very obvious to me that the NASDAQ will continue to the upside. When you print money the way I've studied history, when you print money the way we've been printing money, the money has to go into prices. There's nowhere else to go. So because these assets are sellable, the money goes into these assets. You see what I mean? That's it. Like, stocks will go up if you continue to print money. If a stock's $10 and you print hundreds of millions of dollars, that stock will be worth 10, 12, 15 bucks. It'll go up in value if you continue to print money. Anything that's valued in the dollar, if you add more dollars into the system and that stayed the same, it's going to go up in value. That's why Bitcoin is an obvious call, because they're going to continue to print money. I've studied history, and I'll tell you, as my name is Sam Price, they're going to continue to print money. They will never get to 2%. That's never going to happen. You forget that whole inflation to 2%. I don't know why they repeat that. I guess they have no choice. They have to repeat that, right? That's what they said before. If they stop saying that, people are going to question them. So they kind of have to live the lie. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to run for president in 2032, and I'm going to remind you 10 years prior that I was telling you they were never going to get to 2% over and over again. There'll be footage of me saying it, and I'll be able to run on it because I'm saying, hey, look, I knew better than the people you had in charge, right? Anyway, I think this stuff is obvious. You guys know it. I know it. We all know it. But they keep the lie going. Anyway, so the NASDAQ going sideways, I could see this thing ripping when they print that money to the upside. At the least, we'll get a pullback. We could test 16,495. I'm not ruling that out. But where the 21-day is and how price action is moving suggests that we do not get that big of a pullback. We get more of a move to the upside. Last but not least is Sol BTC. Sol having some issues on the blockchain recently kind of gave it a little bit of FUD, but I think that's good FUD. You know, it can't hurt. Solana still did more transactions than so many other coins in the last 6 months, and it's been a behemoth. Yes, it had a couple days had 1 day of congestion due to a wormhole airdrop that was out of control, but I believe once things are resolved, they'll figure it out. The Sol team also is dealing with way more than all the other chains, so they're getting a chance to really go after that, right? So yeah, just looking at this flag here, Sol's in the flag, coming back down, could go up 42% against Bitcoin. So I'm still bullish on Sol BTC. And if the whole market is going to rip, then you want this to rip. If only Bitcoin's going to rip, this could slip down. But I'm watching Sol BTC in the flag on the 4-hour. It's kind of hovering right on support here. If it does drop, it may come down and test 0.23897. But I'm still overall bullish on this. And there's the initial trade, still open, still in the green, Sol BTC. Everybody, that's your weekly top-down analysis for Bitcoin, total 3, Bitcoin dominance, U.S. Tether dominance, S&P futures, NASDAQ futures, and Sol BTC. I hope you had a great time watching this video, and I had a great time making it for you. I can't wait to see you on my next video. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, tomorrow I teach class. If you want to jump into class tomorrow, hit that QR code or email cryptolifers@gmail.com and send the link. All right, I love you all. I thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.